Hey everybody, it's Chris here at Commander's Cavern. Let's talk about my Oloro Ageless Ascetric Commander deck. Essentially, it's a commander with eminence, but it doesn't have an eminence. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life. Whenever you gain life, you pay 1 mana. If you do, draw a card. Each opponent loses a life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Oloro is in the command zone, you gain 2 life. So that's where that kind of eminence ability is. It's 3 white, blue, black. Incredibly fun commander, and this is the way I built it. It's not net decked or anything like that. I built it myself, which is I'm pretty proud of because it's a really fun deck to play. It's not fun to play against though, but it's fun for me to pilot. So let's start off with my artifacts. Be our first run. So first off, this is a proxy because again, too many Mox Ambers. It's a $50-something card. When I do find another one at a decent price, I'm going to buy it, pull this proxy out, set it aside, and put the real one in it. I just need a placeholder for this for now. And this is a casual game. I play with people who are very aware that there's a proxy in this deck, and they don't mind. They've seen my original Mox Ambers, many of them. But anyway, Mox Amber, tap, 0 mana, add mana of any color. Soul Ring, of course. Got to have the soul. Arcane Signet, Fellware Stone, and then Talisman of Progress. That tops out my mana rocks, so I have 5 of them. Maybe I should have some more, but I draw a lot of cards, so I'm okay with that. A big hitter, Sensei's Divining Top. Yes, it's a real one. Pay 1 mana, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. And then you can tap, draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. Incredibly powerful card. And a lot of fun too, especially in this deck. Temple Bell, 3 mana, tap, each player draws a card. I want people drawing in this deck just as much as I want to draw, as you'll see later when we start hitting some of my artifact creatures and enchantments. And then the One Ring, another proxy. I only have 1 copy of this card right now. It's in my Strafon Vampire deck. As all of you saw, that was the original. So when I can find another one, I'll grab another one. Indestructible, for 4 mana, Indestructible. When the One Ring enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until end of turn. It's a great protection spell, even by itself right there. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life for each burden counter on the One Ring. Tap, put a burden counter on it, and draw a card. So I'm not really worried about losing the 1 life, honestly. Oloro gains me plenty of it. And then you have my equipment. Lightning Greaves, says itself. Swiftfoot Boots, of course. And then now we're getting into some of that life gain stuff. Allhammer's Archive for 5 mana. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life. If you would draw a card, except the first one you draw on each turn, you draw 2 cards instead. Very, very, very good in this deck. I'm drawing more than just my main card every single turn, even in the earlier rounds. Vesner's Journal, 5 mana. You have no max hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain a life for each card in your hand. That is incredible. There's tons of combos in this deck with life gain, life loss, and cards in hand. So I need the no max hand size. Cosmos Elixir, 4 mana. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. So if I've lost life, I gain life. If I've gained life, I draw a card. See where I'm going? Aetherflux Reservoir. Had to include this. Absolutely had to. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain a life for each spell you've cast this turn. Pay 50 life. The Reservoir deals 50 damage to any target. And then Tainted Sigil. For 1, a white, and a black. Tap, sack the sigil. You gain life equal to the total life lost by all players this turn. This was fun. I did this in a turn. And it was with Aetherflux already on the battlefield. I had some enchantments out, stuff like that. I dealt a good chunk of damage. It was 25, I think, something like that. 25 in total. But I tapped, got rid of it, and then got to do this. It was incredible. It was hilarious. It was the only time I ever got Aetherflux to work. So I was pretty proud of it, for sure. It was awesome. So next, we're going to get into the creatures of this deck. Of course, Baleful Strix, blue-black, why not? Flying, Death Touch. When it enters, I get to draw a card. So I get the card draw, and I have something to stop people from wanting to attack. The other people don't want to lose their good creature. Now with a Flying Death Toucher on the battlefield, and it's only 2 mana, why not? Karlov of the Ghost Council, 1 white, 1 black, or white-black. Whenever you gain life, put 2/1/1 counters on Karlov. For 2 mana, remove 6 from Karlov, exile target creature. This was a late add. It is the real card. I pulled it actually from a pack myself, which I was really, really excited about. It was before I started doing the streaming. And anyway, it is awesome because I'm gaining all the life. I can exile stuff. It's going to work out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Scrawling Crawler, this is one of those things I was telling you about earlier. Wait till I get to my artifact enchantment stuff. So beginning of my upkeep, each player draws a card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player loses a life. I want them drawing. Like I said earlier, I want the card draws. And then Psychosis Crawler is the next part of that right there. Psychosis Crawler's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in my hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses a life. So this happens right here. Beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card. So I'm drawing a card for turn, and then I'm drawing at upkeep. Each opponent, whenever they draw a card, they lose a life. And then because I drew a card, they also lose life. So they're losing 2 life, and I'm gaining life, right? Fate Unraveler is another part of that. Whenever an opponent draws a card, this deals 1 damage to that player. You'll see a lot of that going on in this deck, like Gixium Puppeteer. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. When the Puppeteer dies, return another target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. There's not going to be a lot of them, but there's enough that this card worked for me, and I decided to keep it in the deck. Drana's Emissary, 1 colorless, a white-black, flying, and beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. You see where I'm going with this? Queza, Aggravate, Agonies. Actually, when I built this deck, this was the commander I started with. I switched much later to Oloro. You can see here how they're kind of similar for the, how can I do this? There we go. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent lose a life and you gain a life. And then over here, whenever you gain a life, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card, each opponent lose a life. Higher mana cost, but more abilities. And the decks, I feel, are fairly similar to each other anyway, so I could swap out one or the other if I want to come down from, 4 to 3 or something like that. We'll run Queza, but either way, I think they both work with each other just fine. And this is a good commander even on its own. As an uncommon, it's a lot of fun. The Gaffer, at the beginning of each end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, draw a card. Fairy Mastermind. I love this card so much because it reminds me of the dude from Game Nights. Not Josh Lee Kwai. How am I spacing his name? If you ever watch this, I'm sorry about that. Fairy Mastermind, flash, flying. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. And then for 4 mana, each player draws a card. So I'm able to make them draw, lose life, all that. Consecrated Sphinx, 4, 5, 6. So 4 colorless, 2 blue. Flying, whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. Oh, I still can't believe I cannot remember his name. It's the dream to play with those guys over at Game Nights, by the way. If anybody ever sees this video and you can tag them and get them to somehow notice me, invite me, I want to play with them so bad. It would be so much fun. And then I can apologize for my Fairy Mastermind thing. Notion Thief, 2 colorless, a blue-black, flash. If an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw on each of their draw steps, instead that player skips that draw and you draw a card. So now I'm able to take all those draws from these guys or girls. It's hilarious. Lauren of the Third Path, Vigilance. When Lauren of the Third Path enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. Tap, you and target opponent each draw a card. So the card draw is awesome, but I also love the to destroy an artifact or enchantment. If someone else is throwing artifacts or enchantments buckling me down so I can't do some things, this coming out will help kind of stop that and get those things off the field. Kami of the Crescent Moon, 2 blue. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. And then you all know how much I love full art. Oh, this is a gorgeous art too. And it's a different art. There were a couple different arts for this specific card that came out. Triskaidekaphile from that set, Midnight Hunt, which is one of my favorite sets. That is the set I got into Magic in, Midnight Hunt. I'll talk about that on another video. But anyway, you have no maximum hand size at the beginning of your upkeep. If you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. For 4 mana, draw a card. So you get your, one of my win cons is right there, right in the top of the creature pool, or at the bottom of the creature pool. So next, we're going to dive into my enchantments of the deck. Starting here with Heuristic Study. Everybody knows that card. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1 mana. Smuggler's Snare for 3 mana, 2 colors, 1 white. At the beginning of each end step, draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn. Then create a treasure token for each opponent who had 2 or more lands enter the battlefield under their control this turn. I still don't know for sure if I want to keep this in the deck. I feel like I could do something better with something else. But Smuggler's Snare has gone off once or twice, and got me some stuff out of it. So I kept it in for now. Black Market Connections. one of two cards that go in every single black deck I have. Every Rakdos deck, every white, blue, black deck, every deck. Even if I have a mono black deck, I don't care what it is. Black Mark Connections and Phyrexian Arena, which is the card right behind it. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know these cards. They're going in just about every single deck, especially Phyrexian Arena. But anyway, create a treasure, draw a card, or create a shapeshifter. So I have bodies, card draw, treasure. I'm losing life, which is okay in this deck. And then Phyrexian Arena, you already know if you watch any of my videos, this is in absolutely every single black deck I have. I don't know why. I just love it that much. It's card draw. The card draw happens on the next turn anyway, but it's still really good. Trouble in pairs, 2 colorless, 2 white. If an opponent would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. Whenever an opponent attacks you with 2 or more creatures, draws their second card each turn, or casts their second spell each turn, you draw a card. So a lot of different things giving me card draw. And this, I believe, was on the Game Changer list for a little while, and then it got taken off. Land tax, this is a proxy. I know. I need to go get me another one of these. I have 1 copy. I need 2. This is the only other deck I want to run it in as of right now. But anyway, it's 1 white. Beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands, then you may search your library for up to 3 basic land cards. Jimmy! That's his name, Jimmy. Haha, sorry about that if you ever watch this, Jimmy. Oh, well, I butchered my video doing that, but that is funny. If you do shuffle your library, so it's nice to get lands. You know, it's ramping. Ghostly Prison. This is essentially in here just to kind of hopefully stop or slow down the attacks from coming at me, because so far when I played this deck, the first time I played, nobody really dealt with it like a threat. After that, everyone is swinging as quickly as they can at me. Authority of Consults, 1 mana. Creatures your opponent's control enter the battlefield tap. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life. The life gain, and then also slowing them down. This is absolutely one of my favorite arts of all time. I'm not a huge foil guy, but it is perfect on this card. There's not a better foil to me. Underworld Dreams, 3 black. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams deals 1 damage to that player. Oh man, beautiful. Lunar Convocation, 1 white, 1 black, so white, black. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent lose a life. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black back creature token with flying. For a colorless and a black, pay 2 life, draw a card. So you get some card draw, you get some body that are flying, which is nice. And then, you know, the life. And then over here, Cleric Class for 1 mana. If you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead, which is nice. You can upgrade to level 2 for 3 and a white. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, and then you can go to level 3 for 4 and a white. When this class becomes level 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its toughness. So all 3 levels are pretty good in this deck. Level 2, I don't care as much for, but it's still nice to have. If I do want to swing, I can buff someone up real quick. Tainted Remedy. This goes on to an infinite combo in this deck, which is also one of my win cons. There's 3 or 4 win cons in this deck in total. But anyway, 2 and then a black. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead, and then that leads into these next 2. So Sanguine Bond, Exquisite Blood. If you have not seen this, this is one of the most famous black infinite combos of all time. For 3 and 2 black, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Just remember, if you have any of these 2 out at all whatsoever at any point in time, people are going to assume you have the second. And hopefully you have that game plan for when that's coming. It's going to get countered. It's going to, whatever's out's going to get destroyed. Have abilities to stop that. I need to increase the protection in this deck. Absolutely. This is the 3rd win con. Test of Endurance, 2 and 2 white. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 50 or more life, you win the game. That's the 3rd, kind of like the 4th win con in the deck, honestly. And then next we have my Instance. An Offer You Can't Refuse, 1 blue. It's a counter spell, and its controller gets to create 2 treasure tokens. This is my favorite counterspell art, other than Doctor Strange. I don't have one of those. One day I will. I'm not going to proxy. I feel like that's an injustice to Doctor Strange. Not going to do it. I will one day save up and get that dang card. Counter target spell. Arcane Denial, counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards. You draw a card at the beginning of the next step, so that's perfect in this deck. Soul Manipulation. I love this card. It's one, a blue, a black. Choose one or both. Counter target creature spell and or target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Return it. You have Teferi's Protection. There's I think two more proxies in this point. It's just what it does. Teferi's Protection until your next turn. Your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. In a casual game, people don't care so much, especially if you're open. If they don't want it, I have plenty of decks that have absolutely none in it at all. Darkness for one black mana, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. Sajiri Shelter, I like this card. So it's 1 and a white, target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. And then on the backside, if you need some mana, it comes in tap, but it's still nice to have mana available if you don't have any. Pongify, an awesome blue card that's instant, destroy target creature, can't be regenerated. Scorch the Plowshares, of course you got to have that. And Path to Exile is also there. I think every deck that has white should have both of these in it. They're so versatile. Exile target creature. It's nice to have them out there. They're 1, so they don't take up a lot of your mana reserves. Despark, a white and a black. Exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Cyclonic Rift. I proxy this because I'm a cat dude. I don't know if I've posted any of my cat videos yet of Tony messing with magic cards, but sometimes he gets into them. And if he does again, I'll get a video and I'll bring it up so you can see him. But that's just to remind me, I have a cat. And then Enlightened Tutor for 1 white. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. If the game night dudes ever invite me, I promise you I will race out and switch all these. Well, not all these. There's only, 6 proxies or something like that in the deck. I'll pull the originals from my other decks and then go out and get all the originals, copies of the originals. So there won't be any more proxies in these because I want to play with them. And it would be awesome. I don't think I would win, but it would still be a great time. Anyway, Vindicate. Now we're on my sorceries. 1, a white, a black, destroy target permanent. Damn, 2 black, destroy target creature. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. Overload, 2 and 2 white. You may cast a spell for its overload cost. If you do, change target and its text to each, which is awesome board wipe. Toxic Deluge, incredible card. Merchant Scroll, these are all reals. Search your library for a blue instant sorcerer or instant card. Reveal that card and put it into your hand. Demonic Tutor, one of my favorite arts. I just can't get my hands on it. Search your library for a card, put the card into your hand, then shuffle. You have Exsanguinate, one of my faves too, because each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. This with the Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood, that's how I won a couple of weeks ago right here. I had both of these on the battlefield. This came out about a turn or two ago, and then this came out, and I said, I'm winning the game. Someone's exact words to me were, how? If you can't find a way to cause the life gain, then you're not going to be able to win. And it was my turn. And I paid 3 mana, and this whole thing popped off. It was hilarious. Approach of the Second Sun, 6 and a white. This is the last win con in the game. If this spell, or in this deck, if this spell was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library. 7th from the top, you gain 7 life. Lastly, we hit the land base in this deck. So we're going to start off with these utility lands. Bonder's Enclave, taps for a colorless, but 3 tap, draw a card, activate only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. So if Commander's out, I got you. Reliquary Tower, got to have that, no max hand size. Ancient Tomb, I just pulled the baddest Ancient Tomb ever in Edge of Eternities about 2 weeks back, I think it was. So awesome. I was very proud when I found this card. I've been going to my LGS for weeks. I saw someone, a guy I play against, Mike, a buddy of mine. He had this card on the battlefield and none of us could do anything for the longest time. It was awesome. Land destruction needs to happen more. Because of this card, land destruction needs to happen more. But anyway, I spent the last, 3 to 6 weeks looking for the dang card. My LGS finally got a copy in. I snagged it so quick, I did not care what I paid for it. Mikoro, Center of the Sea, tap, add a mana, or for 2 mana, tap, each player draws a card. And then you get into here. These are the tapped land. They come in tapped, you can fetch them, but you can pay 2 life so that they come in the battlefield untapped. And I got Hallowed Fountain, Godless Shrine, and then also Water of Grave. So all 3 from that cycle. And then Caves of Kulios, this is the tap for colorless, and then the Pain Land, so tap to add the color you need. I got the whole cycle of those 3 in here. And then Silent Clearing, tap, pay a life, add one or the other. For 1 mana, tap, sack, draw a card. I don't know if there's the other 2 cycles, or the other 2 to complete the cycle for this color combo in this deck, but if so, I'll eventually add them. I love the Verges, Gloomlake Verge. I don't have the other Verges in this deck. I don't know why, because I have probably a dozen of each of them. When they came out, I knew they were going to be good, and I bought as many as I could get my hands on. I have more than enough for every deck I currently play in combination, but this is an awesome one. Look at that art. Gorgeous. Shipwrecked Marsh. Enters the battlefield tap unless you control 2 or more other lands. Good. Got the white, blue, and the blue, black on that. Prismatic Vista. Pay a life, sack it. Search a library for a basic land. Polluted Delta. Pay a life, sack Polluted Delta. Search a library for an island or swamp. And I got those 2 in here. So Marsh Flats and Polluted Delta. I need to get the 3rd into this deck as well, honestly, because the goal in this deck, I need to be getting as much mana out as possible and trigger some of these life gain, life loss. Of course, the Raffian's Tower Triome, and it's fetchable. Awesome card. Paths of the Dead, which is actually Cavern of the Soul. But it allows me to cast, because I would, of course, select Giant or Soldier. So down here at the bottom, or up here, it allows you to pick a creature type, add colorless, or add a mana of that creature of any color to cast that creature. And then that creature can't be countered. Mana Confluence, tap, pay a life, add a mana of any color. Reflecting Pool, add a mana of any land you can, or a land you control could produce. City of Brass, deals 1 damage to you, add a mana of any color. Whenever it gets tapped, it does. And then Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, and then you have my basics: 3 white, 3 blue, 3 black. I need to get better full arts, because this is one of my favorite decks, and it needs to be treated as such. But I also need to go get the real cards and replace these proxies. The last thing I'll do is show my sideboard, right? So I may pull some of the cards out I have in the deck to slot these in. I have a few more in the sideboard slot. I just can't fit them in the deck box. So Mangera, the Diplomat, lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their 2nd spell each turn, draw a card. Enduring Tenacity, which would double up with some of these other things I have going on. Whenever you gain life, target opponent lose that much life. When Enduring Tenacity dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment, which is awesome because you get a 2nd chance at it. Allows step plating, 1 in a blue, amass 1. I don't care much for that. You win permanent you control, gain hexproof until end of turn. That's what I care about. And then Angel's Grace, it's a white, split 2nd. You can't lose the game this turn. Your opponents can't win the game this turn. Until end of turn, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1, reduces it to 1 instead. And then as long as the spell's on the stack, players can't cast spells. So it comes out, it effectively ends turn. Negate, 1 in a blue, counter target creature spell, non-creature spell. So there you have it. My Oloro Ageless Ascetric deck.